Jimmy. Jimmy. Jim James, son!
Welcome back to the Jim's channel. I'm your host, Jims, and this is the part 3, the finale to the $500 Scion junker rebuild. This video is going to kind of be all out of order because for whatever reason my phone deleted portions of it. So I've had to sort of string together something cohesive so you can have a part 3 finale showing what ended up happening to the vehicle. So, you know, as you can see, here it is. It's all back together. The following clips are going to be, you know, somewhat loosely strung together so you can at least see the final portion of it. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy, and you'll be seeing the clips now. Oh look, a new seal, and the sensor is back. Now it's time for the water pump. New water pump. I don't really like that, because this one doesn't look like that. But, oh well. And don't worry, I am changing all of the intake gaskets. I just put a new gasket here, and we have our throttle body gaskets and every basic gasket you could hope for in this Felpro set. Somebody has walked off, or maybe I have walked off with my crankshaft pulley bolt. I cannot find that bolt, and I have searched literally every square inch of this space. So I'm either gonna have to go buy a new one or keep looking. This has just been a nightmare. Okay, the intake is back in. I am gonna change out every single one of these O-ring seals. I already changed this one because I don't know if you can hear this, but they are hard as a rock. So I'm gonna change every single one of those seals, including the upper seals, and then stick this back into right there on top of the head with those two new bushings and bolt in this little piece. And then I have to see if I can put the exhaust manifold with a new gasket back on. Well, after getting everything back together, I realized that I'm missing a couple of pieces. So I had to come out here to the junkyard and find a 1.5 liter Toyota engine, which here it is, Scion XB. I was missing this crankshaft bolt. I don't know where mine went. I put it down and it vanished. So yeah, I needed this bolt. I also need the lower alternator bolt, which this one does not have. It has vanished also, but the alternator is still somehow there. So I need to find this bolt.
1 week later.
I don't know if you can see this or not. It is running. My foot. If I take my foot off the gas, it will not stay running, but it is running at the moment. Oh man, I have a bad feeling about this car. I think it's a piece of junk.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Gee, Jimmy, whatever gave you that idea? I mean, it's running. See, as soon as you take your foot off the gas, it just stops. So the reality of this is that the rings probably are not, you know, two of the rings are fine, and 2 of the rings are sucked into the piston, and they're like, blah, 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 making the car pissed off. So watch what happens when you just turn the key. So it will start and run, just not for a length of time unless you put your foot on the accelerator. Okay, now that the engine is actually running normally, there's going to have to be some cosmetic updates. A couple things. So, the license plate needed to be reinstalled here instead of in the windshield where it can decapitate you in the event of an accident. Don't do that. Don't put your license plate in the windshield. I know you think it's stupid, but I've seen bad stuff happen. The next thing is this mirror, which I have used drywall screws, or wood screws, to screw back onto the car, is going to be replaced. I ordered a new one. Another thing I have to do is paint this grille and find the emblem. And I've already worked on finding the emblem. There it is, a radiator emblem. That's a strange name for it. It's more of a grille emblem, but whatever. And another thing I'd like to do is paint this grille. This grille is supposed to be white to match the car. I'm not sure why it's black, and it looks like it was maroon or tan before that, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But we have the proper paint to fix that. So we're going to start working on touching up the bits that need touching up, repaint the grille, put the emblem on, fix the mirror, and also we are missing 2 hubcaps, and this bumper could use a little bit of securing. I'm pretty sure that's a screw. So let's get to tidying the front end up. So I taped off the upper and, or I should say the upper and lower halves, and just painted the actual center bar. So we're gonna let that dry in the sun for a while and come back and do another coat or two, and then we should be able to press the emblem in place. I really wanted to take care of these nasty ass yellow headlights. So as you can see over here, oh man, doesn't that look nicer? I just polished it up, and man, that came out nice. Look at the absolute difference. Let's see if I can show you. Woo-wee. So let's get to wet sanding and then polishing this one. Well, alrighty, I think that looks substantially nicer. The bumper could use a little better alignment, and I'm gonna work on that. But take a look. Yeah, it almost looks like a car again. License plate's in the right spot, emblem. The actual grille matches the color that it should be. Alright. Now we just gotta wait for the FedEx man to bring me those hubcaps, and I can polish the car up a little bit. It's another day, and there's more work to be done on the Scion. I did manage to find a replacement driver's side mirror for like $150 basically, because these are impossible to find, unobtainium. We will be working on the stereo today to get it to come on with the key and turn off with the key. And also we have like a special, somewhere over there, a radio adapter kit to make it actually sit where it's supposed to and not rattle around in the dash. And then after that we have to change some motor mounts because this thing rattles like the dickens. So let's get to all of that. Well, what started off as me thinking all I was going to do was change the motor mount because this one is fairly worn out and I bought a new one. Ended up with me having to replace the bracket because this bolt snapped clean off in it and ruined the threads. That was me. I did that. I'll take ownership. So I did manage to find a new bracket. However, to get to the bracket, you got to take the water pump out. You got to take the alternator pulley thing off. You got to take everything out of this fucking car. And there's not really any room. See that? Not really any room. The engineers over at Scion must have been about 2 feet tall. So I need to get that bracket back in there and then put this all back together because I'm becoming frustrated with this car already. I just want to drive it. So please, 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 let us just put the mechanical portion back together and drive it. So after putting everything back together, we've taken it for a little drive out here to this car wash at this place. I'm gonna blast these guys. Every time I come here, they give me a nasty look, and you know what? Fuck you. So anyway, the car is all nice and cleaned up. Everything is back together. You can see it's in pretty good shape. I've given it a wash. I put the new mirror on. Cleaned up the front end and the headlights. It looks a lot better in the front, I think. It's just a nice looking little car. Snazzy little thing. You know, all 4 hubcaps match now. I didn't realize that this mirror was also broken or I would have ordered one. So we're gonna see if we can order the shell because I don't want to order a whole mirror. Trying to find mirrors for these things is like damn near impossible. But yeah, look at that. She looks much better than when we first got her, dumped off. I did a little bit of cleaning inside, not too much, but it's looking a lot nicer. I put the stereo back in the spot that it should be. And she starts right up. So we're gonna go ahead and take her for a drive around and see if any more problems creep up. But other than I'm hearing like maybe a sway bar link rattle, it seems to run and drive absolutely fine. The main problem that I'm having is that it's idling way too low. It's idling probably at about 400 or 500 RPM and it makes the whole damn car shake. So I need to find out why it's idling so low. It seems to be a fairly common problem for these. But overall, I mean, you can't really, for what? I think I have maybe $1,300 into it. I really think that that's a good deal. So let's go take it for a drive. Yeah, so here we are just driving on down the road. Seems to drive pretty good. Ooh, look at that. There's a 57 Chevy rotting in that yard right there. Yeah, she drives pretty good. This road is pretty bad and the suspension's not terrible. It definitely needs sway bar links, I'm guessing. But yeah, when it compared to when I got it, when the motor was completely pooched out on it and it wouldn't run at all, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit from all the talking today. But yeah, man, what do you say about that? So yeah, I've just been driving around for a little bit and she's doing good. No check engine lights, no temperature warnings. Even the AC works. It's quite nice to have the AC working. You know, if you speed up, it does as best as it's gonna do for a little tiny engine like this. Overall, this is just a nice little car. So I think we've saved another one from the certain smasher. Hey, those are some pretty deep bumps in the road too. That's not bad. I definitely think it needs sway bar links. Or something like that. But anyway, I'm gonna keep driving it around for a little while. Make sure the compression stays up. Make sure everything's doing good. Make sure it starts up, no leaks, no nothing. And then we'll do like a more interior detailing. And then we'll do like a cleanup of some other stuff, maybe some small adjustments. And then we will get everything together. Well, I drove it around. It's just sitting here idling at, let's see. It's idling a little better now. It's not idling so bad, but the idle does like to seem to hunt. And the AC blows nice and cold. Got this creepy music playing. So the stereo does work pretty well. Overall, I actually really like this car. I'm gonna have to go through the numbers and see exactly what I have invested in it, but everything seems to work. Power windows. Wipers work, obviously. Air conditioning is working. Radio works. Transmission shifts fine. Yeah, so other than the idle issue, which I'd really like to look into, it seems to be doing just fine. Well, after putting everything back together and driving it around, it runs and drives, but it likes to stall with the air conditioning on. So when you come up to a stop with the AC on, the car goes ba 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 ba. The idle just goes down to like 300, 400 RPM and then shuts off. So we have taken all of the airbox assembly and associated things out. We're going to change the air filter, and I'm going to replace the idle air control valve gasket specifically for this vehicle. So we are going to see if this little idle air control valve is all gummed up, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to get at because there's two coolant lines here and you have to pull this off, and this dipstick is kind of in the way. So I just had to sort of gut everything. But we're going to find out right about now how dirty this is. I know I cleaned the throttle body. I did not clean the idle air control valve. So let's see if that is our little niggling problem. After arguing for a few minutes, I got the throttle body free. I mean, it's the tiniest little bit gunky, but nothing that like is out of this world. I honestly think that should be fine. This is what we're focused on right here, this idle air control valve. And judging based on that, it may be a little gunked up. So you guys will be the first witnesses to what this looks like. I just barely cracked these bolts loose with a big old screwdriver and a hammer. So we're going to take this off. You can see the seal is still good. If it'll let me take it off with one hand, it doesn't seem like it wants to. That's fine. Ooh, yeah, no, that's not good. Alright. Where'd the other half of this go? Yeah, it's not great. I did end up finding out that this thing actually is stuck. I don't know if you can see that, but right here is an electromagnet. And then in this little metal piece in the center is actually the idle air control valve itself. So if you were to stick this in here, see how that opens? Well, when I stuck this in here the first time, it got stuck open and it wouldn't retract. And if that happens, then your idle stays very low. So that's probably part of the problem, or all of it. I think that's about as good as we're gonna get out of these two little bastards. This one is very clean. The actual edges of the butterfly valve are perfect. Like, nothing is going to stop that butterfly valve from opening, closing, etc., etc. And this one, well, it's about as shiny as that's going to get. It does retract and open and close, so I think we're all good on that. So I'm going to put this new thing on here, this gasket, and stick it all back together and see if it wants to idle now. If not, I'm going to have to go find a new one of these. Well, after all that work, swapping the throttle body, cleaning the idle air control valve, changing a bunch of gaskets, blah, 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 the car is running perfectly. As you can see, we are idling right now where we should have been idling in the first place, with no check engine lights at all. I've driven the car to work a few times back and forth. You know, I have a pretty long commute. I go about 35, 40 minutes one way and 35, 40 minutes back the other way. I've driven it to the store, I've driven it to the gas station, and I can pretty definitively say I think we've fixed the vehicle. We've had no breakdowns, no leaks, no check engine lights at all. The car is running great. So here I am at work, just sitting at lunch, talking to you guys like an insane person, wondering if anyone's listening out there. And the car's done. You know, it's not often we have a 3-part series like that where I buy the car, find out what's wrong with it and fix it, and then shuffle it off. Strangely enough, a coworker of mine saw me you know, with the car, looked at it and said, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I need a little fuel efficient car because my commute is 1 hour one way and 1 hour the next. And I think this would be the right car. So we talked about it, he test drove it, shook hands, and the car is going to go to my coworker who, you know, hopefully enjoy this little vehicle. I didn't even get the opportunity to clean anything in here. He took it exactly like it is, which is, you know, good for me. It gives me money to start on my next project, and it gives me space, more importantly, to put my next project in the driveway because I have a very small driveway. It's been a fun little project. I really like this little car. You know, it just runs so good. It's like a little Swiss watch. These little 1.5s have so much power, you'd really never believe it. But yeah, you know, it's not a flamboyant ending or anything. It's not some spectacular, wow, look how much I did, and the car is like a sparkling diamond. It's, you know, it's no, you know, production quality YouTube video. But at least you saw me buy the car, put what it needed into it, and finish the vehicle. You know, you saw the exterior, you've seen the interior. It's nothing exciting or anything like that. But yeah, I believe that's going to be the end of our involvement with this vehicle anyway. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Of course, we have another car in the wait, and we have another car after that. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. If you haven't, watch my last video, and you'll see which car is coming up next. But that's going to be the end of our involvement with this vehicle. So thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.